Hey guys, how's it going? Um, yeah, I've been doing pretty well with script writing. Yesterday, I did like a few hours of script writing for the Kim Jong Un game, and I've got some pretty funny stuff. Um, there's 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 this idea I've come up with because I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone, where every time you have to make a decision, a few cards will appear. So if you have three decisions, three cards will appear, and there'll be like a picture in the cards, and there'll be a description of what it is. So one idea might be like a picture of I don't know, like a rocket, and it just says like fire a missile or something. Or if the decision is more like get angry, just like an angry picture of Kim Jong Un, and then the text underneath will say like get angry. Um, the reason I thought of this was because the way we decided stuff in the previous game in Tokyo Hosto was there was text, and the text would highlight, and then you would select on the gamepad which option you wanted. That was kind of fine for TVs and PCs, but it's not really okay for like little screens because it's really hard to select a piece of text. Um, I want bigger buttons basically, and then I thought about how Hearthstone does it, and they have like these huge cards that you can do to make decisions, and I think it's quite cool. It might be quite fun as well. Um, and I've written a lot of funny different in scenes in the game. One is in one of the scenes, the optimum decision is to just take off all your clothes and leave. And um, I think this is pretty funny, and I actually got the idea when I was reading a book, a short story, where when the character says he's like so bored, he just wanted to take off all his clothes and leave and see what would happen. Um, yeah, so the story is developing pretty well. I mean, it's still less than 20% written, but I'm getting a lot of good ideas. Um, Coding wise, I've been struggling between three different engines. One is Monogame, which I've used before and I kind of like it, but there are some issues. The other is Unity, which yeah, I've used it before, but I don't really like it. It just runs a little bit too slow, and it seems a little bit heavy for a visual novel. And the third idea I've had is Cocos2D, and I took a look at Cocos2D, well, Cocos2D-X, because the X stands for cross-platform, and it's basically like a pretty low-level game framework that you use C++ to write. So there's a lot of scary things about writing a game in Cocos. One is C++. I don't really know it too well, and it's like notoriously difficult to code in. The other is Cocos. I don't know that well, so there's like a lot of learning to do. And I've talked to some friends who used it before. They said like, yeah, it's usable, but there are it's like pretty bare bones, which it's kind of okay because this game is not going to be massively complicated. I don't really want. I'm not really pushing the limits of hardware, so it should be doable. I mean, I'm going to continue investigating Cocos2D. I've been messing around with it a bit today. It seems okay, but I don't love it, but I do like the performance I'm getting from it. Another thing I want to talk about is animation. So I want to have a lot of animation in this game. In Tokyo Hosto, basically, I hired some animators in the Philippines, and then they produced flash animations, like vector animations. And each animation would be 8 frames. And as a Swift file, it would be like less than a few kilobytes, right? Maybe like 100, 200 kilobytes. But because I didn't know, I still don't know how to import a Swift file into Vector Data or whatever. Um, I just converted those Swift files into PNG files, and each PNG was I don't know, like maybe a few hundred kilobytes. So 8 would be a few megs, right? So each 8-frame animation was like a meg of memory, and then when you turn that into texture memory, it gets even bigger. So there's two downsides. One is you run up against like a RAM limit, and so you can have like only a certain amount of textures per scene, a certain amount of animations per scene. And the other limitation is you have like a huge package size. So like your game on Android, your game on iPhone could be really, really big. So I've been trying to think about how to get around that, how to maybe use some sort of some sort of bone texture, bone animation package or something. But I'm not really looking to that too far. I think there's probably some sort of way to import Swift files into a project, but I don't know. And then the other thing is tomorrow I'm going to a hackathon. It's 24 hours, and it's you have to make some sort of app for this heat-seeking camera attachment to an iPhone. So definitely not going to make a video on the weekend because I'll be doing that hackathon, and I guess I'll tell you guys how that went on Monday. All right.